My own sister accused my husband of getting her pregnant to ruin our anniversary until I revealed the truth about her baby's real father. Everyone. I'm Jessica, and today I'm going to share with you the most shocking story of family betrayal, lies, and revenge that I've ever experienced. This is about the night my own sister tried to destroy my marriage by making a devastating false accusation, and how I turned the tables on her in the most spectacular way possible. By the end of this story, you'll understand why I say that sometimes the people closest to you can be your biggest enemies, and why it pays to always stay one step ahead of toxic family members. Let me start by giving you some background about my relationship with my sister Emma. We're only 2 years apart, with me being 31 and her 29, but we've never been close. Growing up, Emma always seemed jealous of anything good that happened to me. If I got better grades, she'd accuse me of cheating. If I had a boyfriend, she'd try to flirt with him behind my back. If our parents praised me for anything, she'd throw a tantrum and claim they loved me more than her. It was exhausting being her sister. Honestly, as adults, Emma's jealousy only got worse, especially when it came to my marriage to my husband David. David and I met in college, dated for 4 years, and got married 3 years ago. He's everything I could ask for in a partner: kind, loyal, hardworking, and completely devoted to our relationship. We have a strong marriage built on trust, communication, and genuine love for each other. Emma, on the other hand, has had a series of disastrous relationships with men who either cheated on her, used her, or just disappeared when things got serious. I think Emma's jealousy of my marriage reached a breaking point last year when David got promoted to senior manager at his engineering firm, and we were finally able to buy our dream house. Meanwhile, Emma was still living in a cramped apartment, working a dead-end retail job, and dating a different loser every few months. The contrast between our lives was stark, and Emma made no effort to hide her resentment. The situation with Emma became more complicated about 8 months ago when she started dating someone new. Unlike her usual pattern of introducing us to every guy she was seeing within the first week, Emma was incredibly secretive about this new relationship. She refused to tell us his name, wouldn't bring him to family gatherings, and got defensive whenever anyone asked about him. All she would say was that he was amazing and that they were really serious this time. I found Emma's secrecy odd, but I didn't push too hard because honestly, I was enjoying the peace of not having to meet another one of her questionable boyfriends. David and I were busy with our own lives, planning home renovations and focusing on our careers. We figured Emma would introduce us to this mystery man when she was ready. About 4 months ago, Emma announced that she was pregnant. She seemed genuinely excited about it, talking about how she and her boyfriend were planning to get married and start a family. She said he was thrilled about the baby and that they were looking at apartments together. For once, Emma seemed happy and stable, and I was genuinely pleased that she had apparently found someone who was good for her. However, Emma continued to be secretive about her boyfriend's identity. When our parents asked when they could meet him, she'd make excuses about his work schedule or say he was shy about meeting the family. When I offered to host a dinner so we could all get to know him, she said he wasn't ready for that yet. It was strange, but Emma had always been dramatic and unpredictable, so we just went along with it. The real drama began about 6 weeks ago when David and I started planning our 3rd wedding anniversary party. We decided to have a nice celebration at our house with close family and friends to commemorate our marriage and show off our newly renovated home. We invited about 30 people, including Emma and her mysterious boyfriend, whom we assumed she would finally introduce to everyone. 2 weeks before the party, Emma told me that her boyfriend wouldn't be able to attend because he had to work that weekend. I was disappointed because I was curious to finally meet the man who had supposedly brought stability to my sister's chaotic life. Emma seemed upset about his absence too, claiming that his job was very demanding and that he often had to work weekends. The week leading up to our anniversary party was busy but exciting. David and I had been married for 3 wonderful years, and we were looking forward to celebrating with the people we loved most. Our relationship was stronger than ever, we were financially stable, and we were even starting to talk about having children soon. Everything in our lives seemed to be falling into place perfectly. The night of our anniversary party started out beautifully. Our house looked amazing, the food was delicious, and all our guests were having a great time. David looked handsome in his new suit, and I felt beautiful in the dress I had bought specifically for the occasion. We were surrounded by friends and family who genuinely cared about us and were celebrating our happiness. It should have been one of the best nights of our lives. Emma arrived at the party about an hour after it started, which wasn't unusual for her since she was always running late. She was visibly pregnant now, probably about 6 months along, and she seemed more emotional than usual. She kept to herself for most of the evening, nursing a single glass of sparkling cider and watching David and me as we mingled with our guests. About 2 hours into the party, just as David and I were preparing to give a thank you speech to our guests, Emma suddenly stood up from her chair and called for everyone's attention. The room fell quiet, and all eyes turned to her. I assumed she was going to offer a toast or say something sweet about our marriage. Despite our complicated relationship, instead, Emma looked directly at me with tears in her eyes and said, "I'm sorry, Jessica, but I can't keep this secret anymore. I have to tell you the truth." My heart started racing because I knew that whatever came next wasn't going to be good. Emma had a flair for drama, but this felt different, more calculated and malicious. What happened next was like a scene from a nightmare. Emma looked around the room at all our guests and then said, "David is the father of my baby. We had an affair, and now I'm pregnant with his child." The room erupted in gasps and shocked whispers. I felt like I had been punched in the stomach, not because I believed her, but because I couldn't believe my own sister would try to destroy my marriage in such a public and humiliating way. David immediately stepped forward and vehemently denied Emma's accusation. He looked genuinely shocked and horrified, and I could see the pain in his eyes at being falsely accused of such a betrayal. Several of our friends started talking at once, some expressing disbelief, others looking confused and uncomfortable. It was chaos, and Emma stood in the middle of it all with this satisfied expression on her face, like she was enjoying watching my world fall apart. But here's the thing that Emma didn't know: I had already discovered the truth about her mysterious boyfriend's identity weeks earlier, and I knew exactly who the real father of her baby was. About 3 weeks before our anniversary party, I had been at the mall when I spotted Emma coming out of a restaurant with a man I recognized immediately. It was Marcus Thompson, the husband of my friend and co-worker Sarah. I was shocked to see Emma with Marcus, especially since they seemed very intimate, holding hands and kissing goodbye in the parking lot. Marcus was supposed to be happily married to Sarah, and they had 2 young children together. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I immediately understood why Emma had been so secretive about her boyfriend's identity. I didn't confront Emma immediately because I needed time to process what I had witnessed and figure out how to handle the situation. I also wasn't entirely sure how to tell Sarah that her husband was having an affair with my sister. It was an incredibly difficult and complicated situation that involved multiple betrayals and would hurt several people I cared about. However, I did start paying more attention to Emma's behavior and asking subtle questions about her relationship timeline. When I compared the timing of when she started dating her mystery boyfriend with when she would have gotten pregnant, it lined up perfectly with when I had seen her with Marcus. I also noticed that Emma always seemed to have money for new clothes and expensive dinners, which was unusual given her retail job salary. It became clear that Marcus was financially supporting her. So when Emma stood up at my anniversary party and falsely accused my husband of fathering her child, I was prepared. I wasn't going to let her destroy my marriage and humiliate David based on lies, especially when I knew exactly who the real father was and why she was lying about it. After Emma made her shocking announcement and the room fell into chaos, I took a deep breath and stood up calmly. I looked directly at Emma and said, "That's a very serious accusation, Emma. Are you absolutely sure about what you're saying?" She nodded dramatically and repeated that David was the father of her baby, adding details about when and where this alleged affair had taken place. Then I pulled out my phone and said, "Well, if David is really the father of your baby, then I guess we should call Marcus Thompson and let him know that his 6-month affair with you is over, and that he's not going to be a father after all." The color drained from Emma's face instantly. She started stammering and asking how I knew about Marcus. But the damage was already done, I continued. For those of you who don't know, Marcus Thompson is married to my coworker Sarah, and he's been having an affair with my sister for the past 8 months. He's the real father of Emma's baby. But apparently Emma thought it would be easier to destroy my marriage than to deal with the reality that her boyfriend is never going to leave his wife for her. The room fell completely silent as everyone processed what I had just revealed. Emma looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor, and several guests were staring at her with expressions of disgust and disappointment. David looked relieved but also angry that he had been falsely accused of such a terrible betrayal. Emma tried to backtrack, claiming that she was confused and emotional, but it was too late. The truth was out, and everyone could see that she had deliberately tried to sabotage my marriage with lies. I wasn't finished though. I had been holding onto this information for weeks, and now that Emma had forced my hand, I was going to make sure everyone understood the full scope of her betrayal. I looked around the room and said, "I've known about Emma's affair with Marcus for 3 weeks. I saw them together at the mall, and I've been trying to figure out how to handle this situation without destroying multiple families. But apparently, Emma decided that the best solution was to destroy my family instead of taking responsibility for her own choices." I then turned to Emma and said, "You've been lying to everyone for months about your mysterious boyfriend because you knew that sleeping with a married man with 2 kids would make you look bad. But lying about David being the father of your child is despicable, even for you. You're not just hurting me and David, you're hurting Marcus's wife and children. And you're lying about an innocent baby's paternity for your own selfish reasons." Emma finally broke down and admitted that Marcus was indeed the father of her baby. She claimed that she had only accused David because she was desperate and scared that Marcus was never going to leave his wife. She said she thought that if she could break up my marriage, somehow that would make her own situation seem less hopeless. It was twisted logic, but it revealed just how selfish and destructive Emma's jealousy had become. The party essentially ended after Emma's confession. Most of our guests left quickly, not wanting to be part of the family drama that had unfolded. A few close friends stayed to make sure David and I were okay and to help clean up. Emma left without saying goodbye, and I honestly didn't care if I ever saw her again. The aftermath of that night was complicated and painful for everyone involved. The next day, I called my coworker Sarah and told her about her husband's affair with my sister. It was one of the hardest conversations I've ever had, but Sarah deserved to know the truth. She was devastated but thanked me for telling her. Marcus and Sarah ended up getting divorced, and Emma was left as a single mother when Marcus chose to focus on maintaining a relationship with his legitimate children, rather than playing house with his pregnant mistress. Our parents were shocked and disappointed by Emma's behavior. They had always known she was jealous of me, but they never imagined she would try to destroy my marriage with false accusations. The fact that she was also involved in breaking up another marriage made her actions even more inexcusable in their eyes. For the first time in our lives, our parents sided completely with me and told Emma that her behavior was unacceptable. Emma gave birth to a baby boy about 3 months after the anniversary party incident. Marcus pays child support but has minimal involvement in his son's life, focusing instead on rebuilding his relationship with his legitimate children. Emma struggles financially as a single mother and has had to move back in with our parents. She's reached out to me a few times trying to apologize and rebuild our relationship, but the trust is completely broken. David and I have worked through the trauma of that night together. While he was hurt and angry about being falsely accused, he understood that Emma's actions said nothing about our marriage and everything about her own twisted psychology. If anything, going through that crisis together made our relationship stronger because we saw how we could support each other through even the most shocking and hurtful situations. We decided not to let Emma's attempted sabotage ruin our anniversary celebration entirely. A few weeks later, we had a small, intimate dinner with just our closest friends to properly celebrate our marriage. It was a much more peaceful and genuine celebration than the original party, and it reminded us of what really matters: the love and trust we share with each other. Looking back on that night, I'm actually glad that Emma revealed her true character so publicly and dramatically. For years, I had made excuses for her jealousy and tried to maintain a relationship despite her toxic behavior. But her willingness to destroy my marriage and hurt an innocent baby with her lies showed me that she was beyond redemption. Sometimes people show you exactly who they are, and you have to believe them. I'm also proud of how I handled the situation. I could have confronted Emma privately about her affair with Marcus, but when she chose to publicly attack my marriage with lies, she forced me to defend myself with the truth. I didn't stoop to her level of cruelty. I simply revealed facts that she had been hiding. The consequences of her actions were her own responsibility, not mine. The experience taught me valuable lessons about family loyalty, toxic relationships, and the importance of standing up for yourself. Just because someone is related to you doesn't mean you owe them unconditional support or protection from the consequences of their actions. Emma had multiple opportunities to make better choices, but she consistently chose jealousy, deception, and selfishness instead. Today, David and I are happier than ever. We're still planning to have children, but we're taking our time and enjoying our strong marriage. We've surrounded ourselves with genuine friends who support our relationship and share our values. We've also learned to be more careful about who we trust with intimate details of our lives, understanding that not everyone has good intentions. As for Emma, she's no longer part of our lives in any meaningful way. We see her occasionally at family gatherings, but we keep our interactions minimal and surface level. She made her choices, and now she has to live with the consequences. I wish her well for the sake of her innocent child, but I have no desire to rebuild a relationship with someone who tried to destroy my marriage out of jealousy and spite. The night of our anniversary party was supposed to be a celebration of love, commitment, and happiness. Instead, it became the night when my sister's true character was revealed and our relationship ended forever. But in a strange way, I'm grateful for what happened because it forced me to confront toxic family dynamics that I had been tolerating for too long. Sometimes the worst betrayals come from the people closest to you, but they also reveal who truly deserves a place in your life. Emma thought she could destroy my happiness, but all she did was remove herself from it. David and I emerged stronger, our marriage more solid than ever, and our future brighter without the dark cloud of Emma's jealousy hanging over us. The truth always comes out eventually, and justice has a way of serving itself. Emma got exactly what she deserved: a broken relationship with her sister, a reputation as a homewrecker, and the reality of raising a child with a man who will never prioritize her or their relationship. Meanwhile, David and I continue to build a beautiful life together, surrounded by people who genuinely love and support us. If there's one thing I want people to take from this story, it's this: never let toxic family members destroy your happiness just because they're related to you. Set boundaries, protect your peace, and don't hesitate to cut people out of your life when they prove they don't deserve to be in it. Family isn't just about blood, it's about love, respect, and loyalty. Emma proved she had none of those things, so she lost her place in mine.